or not, ठीक है ना? नहीं, Cambridge तो सबके पास होती है. Yeah, I don't know if you have the Oxford book or not, right? So ऑक्सफोर्ड बुक के अंदर बहुत सारी चीजें स्टेप बाय स्टेप मेंशन है, राइट, इन डिटेल. What used to happen was कि Cambridge, when they introduced this new syllabus, right, वो ऑक्सफोर्ड बुक की इतनी इन डेप्थ चीजें नहीं पूछते थे. They never asked it. You only surface level पूछते थे, which made people feel like, you know what, the Cambridge book is all there is need to know. Like, you don't need to go in depth Oxford level. What happened in 2020? Suddenly they just asked questions taken out, which was very, very, very in depth all of a sudden, and students were like, "यार ये सवाल का जवाब कहाँ से आएगा?" So basically, what I mean to tell you is, okay, for example, there's one question, ठीक है ना, which came for the first time, where they ask you to describe the procedure, the step-by-step procedure of the क्या कहते हैं, mirrors impulse control therapy, right? So there's तुम्हारे बुक के अंदर the Cambridge one you have, उसके अंदर कहीं भी नहीं लिखा हुआ, right? For example, ये वाला, ठीक है ना, including a reference to EMDR, right? So जो मैं समझाया था, राइट, उसके अलावा भी कुछ स्टेप्स होती हैं जो ऑब्वियस होती हैं, राइट. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, ठीक है ना, यू कैन नोट दिस डाउन व्हेनेवर. अब वी आर assuming that, you know what, they're going to ask a procedure for every other therapy that's out there, right? Whether it's CBT, whether it's EMDR, whether it's REBT, impulse control, sorry, imaginary desensitization, जो भी है. ज़्यादातर they're going to ask the steps उस therapies की जहाँ पे वो होता है, जहाँ पे केस स्टडी हुई होती है, या जिसके साथ कोई एक्सपेरिमेंट लिंक्ड ना हो, राइट. Case studies and experiments are completely different things. Case study is just like one time example. Experiment is like entire बड़ी बड़ी स्टडी, राइट. सो आई एम गेसिंग कि जिसको जो एक्सपेरिमेंट बेस्ड थेरेपी से उनके ऊपर इतना प्रोसीजर इन डेप्थ नहीं आएगा, such as the token economy जो schizophrenia के अंदर होता है, that's an experiment based one. जो schizophrenia के अंदर CBT as a treatment, right? CBT versus befriending वाला सीन था, that's not gonna come either. But therapy जिसके अंदर you have a case study like वो वाला, in phobia you had the case study for uh, e, uh, ERP, exposure response prevention, right? On Jason, the boy with autism and OCD, उसके ऊपर पूरा आ सकता है कि describe the procedure of that. सारी की सारी therapies for impulse control disorder are case study based, उनकी सारी की सारी steps आ सकती हैं. So REBT का कोई experiment, बल्कि REBT का experiments हैं, so maybe उसका नहीं आएगा, right? But again, impulse control therapy के अंदर there's heavy case study related therapies, तो उसके steps लाजमी याद करना. So first thing is, right, wherever therapy we're studying, जो भी होता है, doesn't matter, right? This is the first step to obtain the history, right? You need to find out their background information, right? हम क्या करते हैं, we just skip this step क्योंकि तुम लोगों को conceptual understanding समझानी होती है. But if you actually look at the therapeutic process, the first step is to always obtain the history. You know what's the problem do you have, कब से हो रहा है, कितनी अरसे से हो रहा है, what's the nature of the problem, कितना ज़्यादा तुम्हें disturb करता है. So you obtain the history from that person first of all, right? Now this is very general, मैं impulse control disorder के ऊपर नहीं जा रहा. So you just obtain the history of the symptoms that they have, whatever disorder they may have it. So yeah, so that's going to be the first step. All right, now अब होता क्या है कि I'm still going to be in general, so whatever disorder you're investigating, right, the second step is what aspect of that disorder disturbs or causes discomfort to the client the most, right? For example, if you talk about depression, what aspect of depression, yeah, what symptom exactly is the most intense and the most disturbing? For example, some would say suicidal thoughts are gonna be, intense. So basically, you want to identify the symptoms or intensity that's accompanied with it. This is still general. Now, if we talk about the क्या कहते हैं, impulse control disorder, the common symptoms are compulsive behavior, right? That's the symptom that we have for impulse control disorder. And basically, अब हर therapy का अपना rational होता है. For example, अगर तुम वो करते imaginal sensitization, right? तो compulsive behavior का तुम emotional intensity investigate नहीं करो क्योंकि इसके पीछे theory अलग है. Mirror की theory, however, if you recall, feeling state वाली theory के ऊपर depend करता है. So Miller's gonna try to understand the symptom according to his theory. So what he's gonna ask भाई तुम्हें सबसे ज्यादा symptoms कौन सा खतरनाक आता है, but he's gonna ask additional question के जो सबसे खतरनाक symptom है ना उसके पीछे इमोशनल इंटेंसिटी भी कितनी आती है वो बताओ. So he's gonna do that. He's gonna link the symptoms with his theory. So so that's what this is. And after you find it out, he's gonna use the positive feeling scale, right? Yeah, the scale that used to measure the intense positive feelings. So basically, he's gonna do that. मालूम करेगा तुम्हारे कितने positive feelings आती है, right? And then he's gonna do the क्या कहते हैं entire EMDR process. ठीक है ना? He's gonna reduce the intensity of the positive feeling. पर उससे पहले उसने मालूम करना तुम्हारी पहले positive feeling कितनी आती है, the initial level, right? And because it's mirrors theory, right? The positive feeling के साथ obviously thoughts भी आती हैं and physical sensations भी आती हैं, the physiological experiences. So mirror's gonna make sure कि भाई he exactly knows कि compulsion के साथ तुम्हारे exact emotions, exact thoughts and motion, exact physical sensations क्या आ रहे हैं. So when he has all of these three things, right? So then he's gonna ask you to, what, recall the thing जो भी तुम करते हो उसके साथ ये दोनों चीजें associated है. I feel this a bit incomplete. इसके साथ my thoughts भी आनी चाहिए थी. There should be a D part, लेकिन यहाँ पे D part नहीं है, but I would put a D part there. So when he has every single piece of the puzzle, he's gonna say it. You know what? Think of the compulsive behavior. And when you think of the compulsive behavior, think of that physical sensation, think of that positive feeling, and then you know what? He's gonna do the EMDR thing. जो हम बात कर चुके हैं, right? After he does the EMDR thing, right? उसके बाद दोबारा पॉजिटिव फीलिंग स्केल लगाएगा, right? तो मालूम करने के लिए कि भाई अब फर्क आया कि नहीं आया. एंड यहाँ पे कंपल्सिव बिहेवियर का काम खत्म हो जाएगा. फिर इसके बाद ही इज गोना आस्क यू टू टॉक अबाउट योर नेगेटिव बिलीफ. हालांकि आंसर के अंदर नहीं है. नेगेटिव बिलीफ के बारे में बात करोगे तो सब्जेक्टिव यूनिट्स ऑफ डिस्टर्बेंस स्केल लगता है, लाइक इफ यू नो रिमेंबर. एंड सब्जेक्टिव यूनिट्स ऑफ डिस्टर्बेंस स्केल के साथ अगेन फिजिकल सेंसेशन, द थॉट्स, द इमोशंस, वो सब बोलेगा भाई बताओ क्या क्या आता है बिलीफ के साथ. Then he's going to do the EMDR on the negative belief, and he's going to use the subjective units of disturbance scale again to see if the negative beliefs get reduced because of the EMDR, right? So that's going to be an entire process. Yes, their homework, लेकिन homework is not specified कौन से होते हैं, क्योंकि homework हर किसी का अलग होता है, ठीक है. And this every single time, ठीक है ना, this is ये एक ही session के अंदर हो रहा होगा, ठीक है. So the next step after homework is to repeat these things again and again and again जब तक until and unless मसला हल नहीं होता, right? You might think एक ही session के अंदर हल हो जाता है, but नहीं, हल नहीं होता. Takes repeated efforts to make this work. So like they might go through step one by one, again and again and again. So yeah, all right. So ये जो steps 9 and 12 लिखा है ना, ये 9 and 12, right? Steps 9 and 12 का ये मतलब है कि after this step number 8 और फिर step number 9 आएगा, right? But step number 9 जो होगा ना, that's gonna be this one, right? 9, this is gonna be 10, 11, 12. So they're gonna say कि भाई इसको पूरा करो. So repetition of these steps adds additional steps later on, right? So basically what I'm gonna tell you is that, when you're preparing for these questions, खास तौर पे, you have the past papers online. I hope you guys are using it. So you can kind of see कि 2020 के अंदर किस तरह के सवाल आ रहे हैं. If you compare to 2020 with 2019, you're gonna get a clear distinction of what type of question used to come. बच्चों वाले सवाल आते थे 2019, 2018 के अंदर, 2020 के अंदर they kind of stepped up their game, right? They kind of went in depth with it. So you will know कि कितना in depth detail के अंदर चीजें, procedure के बारे में भी वो पूछते हैं. So again, when you come preparing for the paper, please prepare the notes of how to conduct a therapy step by step by step. भी book के अंदर नहीं है. We talked about it in our lectures recording online मौजूद होंगी. At the end of the day, अगर फिर भी मसला आता है, yeah, I'll be happy to explain those things again. So now this is the time. Do you want me to go through any therapy step by step of how to conduct it? All right. say you might not encounter abhi, you might encounter when you're preparing for it, right? So again, you can ask me उस time भी. All right. uh क्या कहता मैं. All right, other aspects of the papers, खास तौर पे paper क्या कहते हैं 3, that remains unchanged, right, as for now. So our क्या कहते हैं prediction is that, for paper 3 largely this year is going to be remain unchanged as well. Yes, questions के wording change होंगे, so that's what they're going to focus upon. The questions philosophy is going to be same, but the wordings are going to be different. So if you're someone who's practicing past papers, you might notice कि यहाँ पे wordings change हुई है. So two symptoms की जगह two characteristics लिखा हुआ, right? उसके अलावा, for example, everything else is the same, right? For example, describe the explanations of OCD. पहले लिखते थे, पहले लंबा लंबा लिखते थे. Describe why psychologists have discovered about the causes and explanation for OCD. Now they just shorten it, so this changed the wording. Please don't get confused. The thing is remain the same. The requirements are still gonna remain the same. ठीक है. So you might see on that paper 4 के हवाला से. All right. So paper 3 is largely going to remain unchanged, right? Paper 4 के बाद से, yes, things that are going to get more in depth. Procedure के बारे में पूछेंगे, right? About certain therapies. Let's look at this paper, right? For example, an experiment वो little Albert वाले के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, right? So outline the physiological explanation of phobias on which this case study is based upon. So basically, uh, sorry, psychological explanation, right? So what the word psychological explanation word means is that, तुम्हारे AS के अंदर you had this, describe the psychology be investigated in this study, something like ये सवाल आता था ना हर AS के पेपर के अंदर. So basically what they're asking कि यहाँ पे कौन सी psychology की theory लग रही है. So wherever you see the word psychological explanation, they're just asking कि भाई यहाँ पे कौन सी theory लगी हुई है to explain the phobia. So your answer is going to be classic conditioning, जो एल्बर्ट के ऊपर लगा. So whenever you see the word psychological explanation, that is theory. अच्छा, psychological techniques जहाँ इस्तेमाल हो रहे हैं, right? The word psychological techniques or psychological treatment, that means therapy. Whatever the word says, psychological technique, psychological treatment, that straightforward means therapy. And जो साइकोलॉजिकल ट्रीटमेंट के अलावा और कौन से थेरेपीज होते हैं? ड्रग ट्रीटमेंट्स, बायोमेडिकल ट्रीटमेंट्स, उसको उसके सामने ड्रग थेरेपी या ड्रग ट्रीटमेंट लिखा होगा. सो ड्रग थेरेपी तो पढ़ने में आसान लगता है, स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड सेल्फ एक्सप्लेनेटरी, लेकिन जहाँ साइकोलॉजिकल टेक्निक की थेरेपी लगा होगा, दैट मीन्स थेरेपी in general. All right. We These are further evaluation questions जो little Albert की study unethical क्यों थी, right? These are all AS based questions जो तुम्हारा AS से base strong बन जाएंगे. All right. उसके अलावा the strength and disadvantages of conducting research in a laboratory, right? Straightforward answer, nothing difficult in that. So basically, it is going to be more in depth, right? But the requirement is still going to be the same. The paper format is not changed, right? Same for design question, right? The discovery question and the comparison question and way philosophy is still going to be there, right? You get a more variety in question, you get more interesting question. For example, this one, design a study to investigate phobias of horses and boys. So this is a discovery question. You're going to go to boys and basically ask them about phobias. All right. So this is very interesting. क्योंकि यहाँ पे, I hope not that you guys will do that. You read the question, right? It is what it is. There's no hidden meaning behind it. You just go to boys and find out about phobias of horses. Now, what students will do is that most commonly यहाँ पे they go to boys and find out कि कितने बच्चों को horse phobia है. Number of boys who have horse phobia, yeah. Basically, what's the number of horse phobia in the boys? Kitna percentage hota hai? You're not supposed to technically do that. You can do something else. You know what? You're not supposed to count it as the number of boys who has horse phobia, because that's not what this study is about, right? Because यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ नहीं है कि number of boys. You can find about the quantitative nature of phobias in horses by घोड़े से डर है तो क्यों डर है, कौन से टाइप ऑफ घोड़े से डर है, किस एस्पेक्ट से डर लगता है, घोड़ा क्या करेगा, मारेगा, खाएगा, like these qualitative aspects. So again, so don't read into questions itna zyada, theek hai na? It is what it is, right? Don't go extra. uh, Now let's looking at the debate question, right? ERP, right? Exposure and response prevention. ERP or therapy is always successful in treating OCD and related disorders. Do you agree? Do you not disagree? Right? So यहाँ पे it is straightforward. You can debate question, nothing in that. जो GSNY study, that's going to be the evidence of it. Your other therapies, right? That's going to be the counter evidence to it. So that's going to construct your debate, right? So that is it for the paper construct. इतना ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं है. Yes, wording के अंदर फर्क आएगा. Please be prepared for that. इसके अलावा ये तो हो गया ना. या इसके अलावा कभी कभार यहाँ पे अगेन सी एक्सप्लेनेशंस पूछेंगे, ट्रीटमेंट पूछेंगे, एंड द थर्ड सेक्शन इज हमेशा हमेशा याद रखना कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स, मेजर्स एंड टाइप्स. दिस इज द फर्स्ट सेक्शन ऑफ योर कैम्ब्रिज बुक जहाँ पे कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स के अंदर पूरा डायग्नोस्टिक क्राइटेरिया लिखा होगा, राइट. टाइप्स के अंदर द सब टाइप्स ऑफ ओसीडी, अगर हम ओसीडी के बारे में बात करें, द होर्डिंग बिहेवियर, राइट, द बॉडी डिस्मॉर्फिक डिसऑर्डर, वो सब टाइप्स के अंदर आ रहा होगा हमारे बुक के अंदर हेडिंग है, एंड उसका मेजर्स आता है. सो दे कैन आस्क क्वेश्चंस ऑफ दोस थ्री थिंग्स एज वेल. डिस्क्राइब द मेजर सब टाइप्स and the characteristics of OCD. तो उसके अंदर ये चीज आएंगे. इसकी evaluation points we have discussed previously. कोई ना कोई recordings के अंदर mention होंगी. If not, we can go over them again. All right. ये बताओ कि when you guys solve past papers, right? How long do you usually take to complete one paper or one question? चलो, for example, design question. How long do you take it? 10 to 20 minutes. All right. See, I'm gonna give you the magic number, right? Whatever marks you have in the paper, right? For example, this is an 8-mark question, right? How much time you're supposed to solve this question in? Multiplied by 1.5, right? 12, I guess 12 out there. You can 2 multiply by 2 is 16, so like 1.5 is, I guess, 12, I don't know. So 1.5 times the number of marks that you get. 16 marks, 60 mark paper and 90 minutes, so 1.5, right? The ratio should be 1.5. If you're exceeding more than 1.5 per question, you have a problem. You need to watch yourself, okay, or else you're gonna leave a lot of questions unanswered. Say though, please make sure you time yourself. 1.5 is the magic number. You write somewhere, right? You practice yourself. I know अभी content पक्का करने में, 3 call करने में चीजें ज़्यादा time लग रहा होगा, but 1.5 is the magic number that you should be aiming for. ठीक है. उसके अलावा yeah, 43. Yep. So those are the changes in the paper taken as Kalawa. There's no other update relating to papers, right? Just I just need to give you guys a heads up. All right. So this is still a revision class, right? We can start health psychology from Saturday. So this is still a revision class. I know some of you guys may have submitted your papers. मैं रात को feedback दूंगा, ठीक है ना? Individual and voice note. हो सकता है कुछ papers में बोल दूंगा कि you know what, share this on the group so it can act as a model paper for you guys. All right. So generically, right, you might get this type of debate question as a medical technique such as drugs can treat all patients of depression effectively, right? So drugs के अंदर क्या आता है? You have SSRIs, MAOIs, and what the tricyclics, right? So again, do you agree or not disagree? For disagreement, you're gonna mention other therapies, right? And effectively का मतलब है कि number of percentages तुम्हें quote करने होंगे, right? या तुम्हें side effects वाला quote करना होगा. For example, medical techniques. अच्छा, don't give me aim. You guys give me aims, right? You don't need to do that. Number two, what you guys sometimes do is that पूरा मुझे medical technique की summary बता दो, right? Then you tell me that is effective or not. I don't need the summary. Just come straight to the point, right? The summary is known by the experimenters. The summary is not required in this question, neither the aim. The aim bhi nahi karo. Okay, the question itself is the aim, is written over there. So yeah, so you can say side effects hote hain, right? That is and counter evidence, counterpoint ho jayega. ठीक है. For example, if you have any study जहाँ पे इतने number of लोग सही होते हैं, right, using these medication, that's gonna act as an evidence. If you say, okay, you know what, there are certain therapies out there that are more capable of treating people, such as wake therapy, जहाँ placebo group था, CBT, REBT, right? That study, जो Romanian लोग के ऊपर हुआ था, right? That's in your slides as well, so you can quote that, right? So you can say, okay, you know what, there are other therapies out there which work better than medical techniques. Sometimes, if you're lucky, right, in the marketing scheme, you're gonna have researches जो तुम्हारे book के अंदर mention नहीं है. For example, खान की research में book में भी नहीं है, तुम्हारी slide में भी नहीं है. So these are additional researches that you can use. If you're lucky, हमेशा marketing scheme के अंदर mention होगा, right? ज़्यादातर mention नहीं होता. I guess they started to mention this in the winter of 2020 or summer of 2020. उससे पहले नहीं करते थे. So, and the requirement is this one. See? Yeah. This is a requirement. Use examples of research that you have studied to support your answer. Bazoka, you don't have researches in your syllabus to support your answer. ज़्यादातर एक ही research होती है, right? So at least the requirement is कि कम से कम एक या दो research लिख दिया करो. When you write a research, right, please just don't write Khan said. इसका पूरा research का ये नाम है. Right? This is the name of the research. If you don't write this pura ka pura, they're not gonna give you marks. Bracket के अंदर date इतना लाजमी है. So please do that. Please at least quote some researches that you can think of. अगर applicable हैं, बिल्कुल भी applicable नहीं है, ठीक है, फिर sense बनता है. But if you know, come on, there are things in your book, mention them. ठीक है. Yeah, that's it. उसके अलावा what else did I have to tell you guys? All right. So what I'm gonna show you is that तुम्हारे पास ना एक therapy book entire A level psychology का abnormal psychology के अंदर बार repeat हो रही होगी, right? I hope you know which therapy I'm talking about, right? हर जगह आती है वो. By the time I hope that I reach to that slide, जहाँ पे therapy mentioned, you guys can think of it शुरू से, right? If not, there you go. This is the therapy I'm talking about. ये वाली CBT, right? CBT is present in schizophrenia, right? CBT is obviously present in depression, जो back की जो है, right? CBT is also present in the क्या कहते हैं OCD वाला chapter, right? CBT is also present in, I guess, phobia, imaginary. I guess phobia के अंदर present नहीं है. I forgot about it, but CBT is largely present, right? वहाँ पे. So, up see when I talk to you guys about कि you know what, कि CBT के steps लिखने पड़ेंगे अब, right? अब यहाँ पे थोड़ा बहुत मसला इसलिए आता है क्योंकि CBT जिस डिसऑर्डर के हिसाब से ना, उस डिसऑर्डर के हिसाब से तुम्हें स्टेप्स लिखने पड़ेंगे, राइट? फॉर एग्जांपल ये शायद CBT है या फोबिया के अंदर भी CBT थी. So I'm just going to explain the common steps for CBT, right, which are largely gonna remain same for all disorders, right? कुछ इक्का दुक्का चीजें चेंज होंगी in case they might ask about CBT का process, right? So here it goes, right? If you know, but right now the first step is to what gather gather history of information regarding symptoms, as in, you know what, when did it start, कितनी intensity होती है, right? क्या कहते हैं triggers, कि कब आते हैं तुम आपको एंड या बेसिकली ये होता है कि लाइक कब से शुरू हुआ, कौन से सिम्टम कितने खतरनाक हैं एंड किस सिचुएशन का आती है, ट्रिगर्स, राइट? वंस यू टॉक अबाउट देम, राइट, उसके बाद सीबीटी के हिसाब से क्या करोगे? सीबीटी के लिहाज से ना यू आर गोना इन्वेस्टिगेट certain aspects. CBT के अंदर you're supposed to investigate the thoughts associated. यहाँ पे disorder लिख रहा हूँ, right? अब यहाँ पे let's suppose if it's a phobia, so the thoughts associated with the feared object, the emotions associated with the feared object, and the yeah, क्या कहते हैं, yeah, the behavior that is associated with the feared object, right? ये कहाँ से आ रहा है, ये चीज कहाँ से आ रही है? If you guys remember the CBT rational, कहाँ पर था ये वाला नहीं, not this one, not this one, ये थोड़ा और से पहले वाली चीज है. CBT. See, if you just look CBT triangle online, right, ये हमेशा नजर आएगा. Thoughts, behavior, feelings, thoughts, feeling, behavior, right? So what a CBT therapy? अच्छा, this is not something जो तुम कहोगी यार ये ना, this is what Miller does. This is not something that Miller does. Miller does investigate thoughts, right? Miller does investigate feelings, but Miller never investigate behaviors. उसका behavior का अलग चल रहा होता है, right? उसके triangle के अंदर कुछ और आ रही होती है, thoughts, feelings, and physiological sensation plus the behavior. CBD के अंदर the behavior is part of the triangle, and यहाँ feelings के अंदर physiological sensations लाजमी नहीं क्यों? So what the CBT rationale is, कि basic whatever you think, right? जो भी तुम thought सोचोगे उसके हिसाब से तुम कोई ना कोई चीज करोगे, right? If you think bad, you're gonna do bad. उसके हिसाब से तुम्हारे कोई ना कोई feelings आएंगे, right? So if you change your thoughts, you ultimately change your behavior and you change your feeling, right? तो basically हमारा सबसे बड़ा मसला क्या होता है लोगों के साथ? Behavior, right? So हमें सबसे पहले लोगों का thoughts change करना होता है. That's why the cognitive element is there. Cognitive therapy इसलिए कहते हैं क्योंकि it changes your thoughts so it can change other aspects of your behavior. अगर हम बंदे का direct behavior change करेंगे काम नहीं चलेगा जब, क्योंकि thought is the main problem according to CBT. So basically हम क्या करेंगे? We're just gonna identify the thoughts, the emotions and the behavior associated with the disorder, right? जब ये हो जाएगा then you're gonna make the CBT triangles. उसके हम सामने हम CBT triangle डालते हैं जो भी इसके specific thoughts आते हैं, specific behavior आते हैं, specific feelings आते हैं, right? So we make the CBT triangle in front of them, ठीक है? अच्छा, उसके बाद क्या करते हैं? Once we make the CBT triangle, right, we then focus on क्या कहते हैं, maladaptive thoughts. When we make the CBT triangle, then we start to work on thoughts. अब हम थॉट्स के ऊपर स्पेसिफिकली काम करेंगे, राइट? स्पेसिफिकली यहां पे वो बैक वाला कॉन्सेप्ट आएगा, यहां पे बैक वाला कॉन्सेप्ट आएगा, राइट? इससे पहले नहीं आएगा. Again, I'm going to explain you guys once again. First of all, बंदा आता है, right? You just gather history, right? जब बंदे से हिस्ट्री पूछते हो, because now you are a person who practices CBT, उससे मालूम करोगे भाई तुम्हारा जो प्रॉब्लम उसके साथ थॉट्स क्या है, इमोशंस क्या है, बिहेवियर क्या है. जब वो पता चल जाएगा कि एग्जैक्टली थॉट, इमोशन, बिहेवियर क्या है, उसके सामने सीबीटी की ट्रायंगल बनाओगे, ठीक है? उसको भी सामने नजर आ जाएगा भाई यहाँ क्या मसला तुम्हारे साथ. जब ट्रायंगल बना लोगे, so because you're a CBT person, practitioner, तुम ये यकीन करते हो कि इस बंदे का जो अल्टीमेटली डिसऑर्डर है, ये डिप्रेशन है, फोबिया है, ओसीडी है, schizophrenia, right? Basically it comes down to the thoughts are the main problem, right? So इन सब मसलों को हल करने के लिए ना, इसके इमोशंस को, इसके बिहेवियर को, मुझे सबसे पहले थॉट्स को टारगेट करना पड़ेगा. तो थॉट्स को टारगेट करने का जो फॉर्मूला है, दैट वाज गिवन बाय बैक, ये वाला. अब ये ट्रायंगल्स के ऊपर इस्तेमाल होगा, राइट? यू गोना फाइंड आउट द नेगेटिव बिलीफ अबाउट ही हैज विद द सेल्फ, विद द वर्ल्ड या विद द फ्यूचर, राइट? So you're going to find the negative beliefs about the world, the self, the future. तो ये बैक की ट्रायंगल यहाँ पे बैक की ट्रायड इस्तेमाल होगा. तो फोबिया के अंदर क्या हो सकता है, दे माइट हैव अ नेगेटिव व्यू अबाउट द वर्ल्ड, यू नो व्हाट, द ऑब्जेक्ट दैट दे फियर इज गोना हार्म देम, राइट? फ्यूचर के अंदर भी हो सकता है कि द ऑब्जेक्ट दैट द फियर इज गोना हार्म देम इन द फ्यूचर, राइट? नेगेटिव व्यू अबाउट द वर्ल्ड भी हो गया, अबाउट द फ्यूचर भी हो गया। समटाइम डिप्रेशन के अंदर दे माइट हैव अ नेगेटिव व्यू अबाउट द सेल्फ एज वेल, कि भाई आई एम वर्थलेस, राइट? एवरीवन हेट्स मी, ये वर्ल्ड के बारे में हो गया, एंड एवरीवन विल कंटिन्यू हेटिंग मी, ये फ्यूचर के बारे में हो गया, राइट? सो अल्टीमेटली स्किज़ोफ्रेनिया के ऊपर क्या होगा, नेगेटिव व्यूज अबाउट द वर्ल्ड होगा, यू नो एवरीवन इज आउट टू गेट मी, पैरानोइड स्किज़ोफ्रेनिया, paranoid symptoms, everyone's out to harm me, negative view about the world. I am क्या कहते हैं, I am being followed, right? Negative view about the self and the world, right? I am gonna be continued to be followed. Negative views about the future. Somehow कोई ना कहीं negative thoughts को आप triangle के अंदर लाओगे. Once you have the triangle, so you know negative views about the world, the self, the future, पता चल गया exactly क्या है. उसके बाद आप क्या करोगे? Now you know these are maladaptive thoughts, right? These are not normal. तुम्हें पता है ना? So now because these thoughts are maladaptive, you are gonna focus on changing these maladaptive thoughts uh, by first of all identifying them. You need to make the patient realize कि भाई ये maladaptive thoughts maladaptive है, these are not normal. जब वो बंदा आइडेंटिफाई कर लेगा कि हाँ यार मेरे दिमाग में वाकई गलत ख्याल आ रहे हैं, उसके बाद आप कहोगे यू फोकस maladaptive thoughts by finding alternative thoughts, right? जब बंदा मान लेगा कि हाँ यार ये गलत है, उसके बाद तुम क्या करोगे, you're gonna make them think something else in the instead of thoughts, कि इसके अलावा क्या सोच सकते हो. So changing the thought process is gonna be key in क्या कहते हैं CBD. Once they find out the alternative thoughts, for example, if we go back to a triangle, right? So यहाँ पे थॉट्स कोई और आती है तो ऑब्वियसली ये पूरा का पूरा ट्रायंगल का बिहेवियर फीलिंग्स भी अल्टीमेटली चेंज हो जाएगा. सो दैट्स द थिंग कि यू चेंज द थॉट, you change the feelings and behavior. So when the person thinks of alternate thoughts, now the person is find क्या कहते हैं, supposed to work on behaviors and feelings जो alternate thoughts की वजह से आ गए, generated by alternative thoughts, right? And basically ये सब therapy setting के अंदर होता है. तो and at the end you're supposed to give them homework so they can do it at home, right? So basically this is the entire process. Is there anything that you want me to clarify? ये नहीं समझ में आया, दिमाग के ऊपर से गुजर रहा है, पूछ लो. Alright, ठीक है, but make sure कि जो disorder तुम्हारे सामने डाला गया है, yes, these are general points for CBT. तो तुम्हारा जो disorder specific होगा ना, for example, explain a step of CBT to treat phobia. तो जो disorders का जो specific यहाँ पे specify कर देगा the associated या feared objects. Schizophrenia होगा तो you know the schizophrenic symptoms. तो यहाँ पे disorder specify कर दोगे, right? तो generally जो भी disorder होगा चीजें वही की वही रहेंगी. Biggest proof of this you can तुम्हें अगर याद होगा फोबिया के अंदर स्केल होता है BIPI, ब्लड इंजेक्शन फोबिया इन्वेंट्री. उसके अंदर तुम्हारे थॉट्स भी टारगेट होते हैं, फीलिंग्स भी हो रही होती है, राइट? इमोशन एंड द बिहेवियर. सो वो सारा का सारा इट्स अ CVT ओरिएंटेड स्केल एक तरीके से. सो या ये फोबिया के ऊपर आराम से इस्तेमाल हो रहा होगा. सो या so these are the steps. Please make sure कि तुम इसको डिसऑर्डर के अकॉर्डिंगली शेप कर लेना. All right, this meeting is ending, so I'm gonna be right back and restart the meeting.